Welcome to the Health with Hashimoto's podcast. If you're listening in real time, Merry Christmas. It is the week of Christmas, and I love Christmas. I love it more when there's snow. I'm in Minnesota, where we're supposed to have snow. We're in the top of the United States, and we do not have any snow, and it makes me very sad. Other people are also very sad around this time of year. If you have had loss that just seems so heavy and so magnified at this time of year, I'm feeling for you. I'm sorry. It is a very heavy time of year, full of grief, full of joy. We can hold both of those two things at the same time and just recognize that some people are super happy, some people are super sad, and some people have both of those huge emotions at the same time. So whatever it is for you, I hope that you do have a Merry Christmas. I hope that you know the real reason for the season. I know that's a saying, like the real reason for the season, because it rhymes, but it's true. We celebrate Christmas at this time of year because light is growing more and more and more. Traditionally in every culture where there's, periods of really dark days, there's always a celebration when the light starts to get more. And Christmas is celebrating Jesus, who is the light of the world. And I hope you know that. If you don't know about Jesus, I would love to tell you about Jesus sometime. Send me a message. Let's have a chat. I believe that we all do wrong things. It's called sin. And when we do wrong things, there's a consequence. It's not based on our consequences. Like, I don't want to punish my kids, so I don't have to. I don't want to punish myself, so I don't have to. But I don't set the rules for sin. When I sin, when I do wrong things, God sets the rules and God sets the consequence. And then God also sent his own son to take our punishment, to take that consequence so that we can have eternal life. And that is why we celebrate Christmas. Today on the podcast, I am, as always, going to give you simple tips. I was talking to a friend just today, and she had listened to a really interesting podcast about kids and concussions and problems later on in life. And I said, well, what was the solution? She's like, well, they didn't give any solution. And then she just smiled. She's like, your podcast always gives me hope. It always gives me something to do. The podcast I listened to today didn't have any hope. It was just bad news. It made sense, but it was just bad news. And she thanked me for always having hope. And that's what I hope you find here is simple and sustainable strategies. If things aren't simple, you're not going to do them. If they're not sustainable, you're not going to keep doing them. So here on the podcast, we talk about simple and sustainable strategies that you can implement so that you have better health. And specifically, we're talking about autoimmune health. Hashimoto's thyroiditis is an autoimmune problem. Today, I'm going to talk to you about how to know when to get help for your Hashimoto's. And this was inspired by my boys buying a 3D printer. If you're on my email list, you already got a little preview of this story, but now I'll give you the conclusion. If you're not on my email list, head down to the show notes and get my free offer, which is 10 questions to ask at your next doctor's visit. It's a really helpful PDF. The final page is printable. So you've got all of the notes on there, all of the 10 questions, and you can print it out, bring it to your doctor so you can easily keep track of what they say. So head down there to the show notes, get that freebie, and then you'll be on my email list. All right. So my boys, they are between 10 and 16 years old. I have 4 boys, and they have been saving, I think, for a year for a 3D printer. The older 2 especially have some big plans for it. They love board games. They love Settlers of Catan, and they have made like their own version of the game. They've combined they've combined 2 different games. It's really complex. And so they really want to build little pieces for their combined game. That's one of their goals with this 3D printer. And then another boy, actually one of those 2, he is working on Christmas presents, and he really needs this 3D printer for Christmas presents. So on Black Friday, they had enough money combined with, the Black Friday sales, and they got their 3D printer. They were so excited. It came in the mail, huge box, opened it up, and my son goes to plug it in. I'm like, well, did you read the instructions? He's like, oh, that might be a good idea. I mean, this is like a $500 gadget. You don't want to just start playing with it, right? I'm usually a big fan of just figure it out. But in this case, I didn't want him to break it as he was taking it out of the box and trying to assemble anything. So he read the instructions, got it all set up, and it was great. He printed it comes with a boat right on the printer itself, like in the software, it can print a little boat. Now, it's a satisfying build, like it prints and voila, you have a little boat. However, it capsizes. So I wouldn't recommend, using it as a boat. It's also 1 inch by 2 inches, but it capsizes and then it floats just upside down. But they were super excited to have this little boat that they had 3D printed. Now I'm going to pause so I can explain what 3D printing is in case you don't know. Basically, it's this little plastic extruder that goes around in a pattern, and it lays down a little piece of plastic. It melts the plastic and then it lays it down and then it builds on top of that. So as it builds through the layers, wherever it's laying down the plastic, that builds the creation. So you use software to tell the computer or the printer what to do. And the boat came installed right on the printer. It also came with another couple files that they were able to use. But of course, they went online and they went to the manufacturer, to their specific model library. And one of my boys saw a chess set that he really wanted to build for his brothers. He's been making the chess board. I have to make sure that nobody comes upstairs while I'm talking about this because it's not Christmas yet. So hopefully none of the other boys walk in while I'm telling you this. So he's been working on a chess board at school. He finished that, but now he needs the chess pieces. So we downloaded the files and everything looked good. And we put it on the printer and the printer couldn't read it. And we're like, okay, what? And of course, while this was happening, I was packing to go out of state for a wedding. So I could not help my boys troubleshoot. But I've been really working on my parenting skills. My boys are teenagers. So I'm really trying to help them become more independent and learn how to solve things for themselves. Because of course, I'm always willing to help them troubleshoot and always willing to help them figure out, what's going on and how to do it. And I'll do it for them. But that is not giving them the skills. So I've been trying to back off on that. So I thought, this is great. I don't know anything about 3D printers. They wanted it. They know about it a little bit at least. And so I'm going to let them go for it. But that didn't really work. They got frustrated and they just gave up. So I texted my friend who I didn't know, but I was assuming that she had a 3D printer. It turns out that they have multiple 3D printers. They have been working with 3D printing for a long time, her and her husband and her kids. They're experts. And so she texted back and she's like, oh, you are in this kind of file. You need to slice it into this kind of file. So it turns out that when you have the picture of the 3D model itself, that's what you look at on the computer. You're like, oh, I want to make that. But then you have to turn it into the actual individual layers of the print that the printer is going to squirt out, and that's called slicing it. So I did not know this. So we sliced it, and then they started having more problems. We were super happy because now the printer at least sees the software, but then they were having problems, it wouldn't stick to the plate. Now, the 3D printer, it prints on a flat surface, and that's called the plate. If the plastic doesn't adhere to the plate, then it can't build on itself. And of course, if it can't build on itself, then you're not going to have a 3D model at the end. You're just going to have this crazy mess of melted plastic string all over. It's a mess. So the boys got frustrated again. I'm home by this time, and now I'm helping them troubleshoot. And I helped them, and I am getting frustrated myself because I'm looking at the experts. I'm looking up the instructions. I'm reading on the manufacturer's stuff. I'm reading everything I can to figure out what is going on. I had not pulled up YouTube tutorials because I did something else instead. And this was crucial. I texted my friend, the expert, and I said, oh my goodness, this is what's going on. And she texted back and she said, do you have time to hop on a call? Yes, I do. Because at this point we had gone from, just pushing buttons, and that didn't work, to reading the comments and the comments on the forum and implementing their tips that way, and that didn't work. And texting a friend, well, she had texted back and helped me a little bit, but it still wasn't working. I was at the end of my rope. I needed expert help. And here's where I turn it to Hashimoto's and your health. This same process is this what we do with our health. We, initially we get our diagnosis, and maybe you don't get any instructions. Your doctor is like, here's a medication. That's like the pushing buttons. You don't have any instructions. You're just like pushing buttons. You don't have any instructions for actual health, for what the root causes are. You just have this medication. So you take the medication. Oh, guess what? Your symptoms are getting worse. Maybe your symptoms get better for a little while because the levothyroxine or the Synthroid or whatever, they are a Band-Aid. And so they're going to help your symptoms for a while. But then you realize, I'm feeling worse, because the root causes weren't addressed. So you were at that level 1, no instructions, just do what your doctor says. Just, push some buttons in the 3D printer world. And then you move to that next level, which is probably, if you're an average person, it's learning via social media. We learn so much from Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. There is such knowledge and help on those platforms, and they are wonderful. But there's also some quackery. There's some really bad advice mixed in there. Just like on the forums when we're trying to troubleshoot the 3D printer. Same thing on social media. When you are working on your health, not only is there some bad advice mixed in with the good advice, but it is all over the place. If you try to follow everybody's advice, you're going to be completely overwhelmed, pulled in 500 different directions, and not knowing what you're doing for your own health. You don't know how to solve your problem. You know how this person solved her problem. You know how that person solved his problem, but you don't know what you need to do for your own problem. That is level 2. It's learning via the internet. And then level 3, in the 3D printer world, it was texting a friend. In your health, what is it? I would say level 3 is looking at reputable sources, going to the library or Amazon or whatever, and getting some books that have gone through, editorial process. Most likely some other doctors or medical people have looked at them, reviewed them, and made sure they're accurate. They're going to be more reliable than anything that you can get online. I love books. Books also go out of date rather quickly in this, modern era where we have so many more studies and things published all the time because everybody has access to information. I love it. But then you might not still know exactly what to do for your own health. You have this book and it lays out all of the steps, but you're like, oh my goodness, now I have a huge 1.5-inch book of things to do. What am I supposed to do first? And how can I know that it's going to work for me? So getting that information is helpful, but sometimes it's still not the answer. Sometimes you're like, I just want somebody to tell me what to do. I just want to sit on the phone or a Zoom and have somebody tell me exactly what's going on and my next step, because I don't need to know 5, 10, 15, or even 3 steps from now. I need to know my next step. Are you there? Have you been there? I've been there. Well, with the 3D printer, I was just there. And with my health, I've been there. You know that you need expert help, and you need it to apply to you, to your situation, and to tell you what your next step is. Because everything else just seems overwhelming, unachievable, and like it's not working. You're wasting your time, you're wasting your efforts, you're wasting your money, you're chasing after this goal that seems to just keep moving out. I know that when I was chasing some answers, it felt like I was always coming to my husband saying, okay, this next thing that I'm going to do, it's going to work. And then, a couple weeks later, like, okay, that actually didn't work, but this next thing, it's going to work. And then a couple weeks later, okay, so that last thing, it helped a little bit, but it's still not quite doing what I was hoping. So this next thing, this is going to work. It's a cycle, and it's so frustrating because you're wasting your time. You're constantly hoping, and then you're discouraged, and then you're hoping, and then you're discouraged. And in that meantime, you're also spending money to chase that hope and to attain it. And you're spending your time in implementing and trying to get that hope and the answer, and it's not working. And that's why I have the Holistic Hashimoto's course for you. It is your guide. If you are at that spot where you need your next step, you don't need 5 steps down the road or 10 steps or 20. You need the next step. That's what the Holistic Hashimoto's course has for you. Every week, I release one module to you. It's a 4-week course. And I do not release all 4 weeks to you right when you enroll, because I've been in courses like that and I binge it. I look at all of the information. I get overwhelmed. I pick 1 or 2 things, do those, and then I'm done. But then guess what? It didn't work how it's supposed to because I didn't implement the steps in order and I didn't take my time with each step. So what I have done with this course is you get each week or each module at a time. So 7 days after you enroll, then you'll get module 2. I can't remember if I've called them modules or weeks. I think actually when you're going through it, you might see both of those terms because each module is 1 week. So every 7 days, you get the next step. And in each step, I give you hope and I give you the actual steps to do that thing. So let me tell you about what you're going to get in the 4 weeks of the Holistic Hashimoto's course. So right when you enroll, you're going to have access through the app. You're going to have your own app for this course, and you're going to have access to Hashimoto's Decoded. And that goes through your root causes so that you really know what your root causes are before you begin. And then in week 1, which you also have access to, sometimes week 1, I have to do it manually on the back end, so it might take up to 48 hours. So in week 1, you're going to gain a clear understanding of your own diagnosis, the role that your thyroid plays in everything, and you're going to take a whole person inventory. That's helping you look back, helping you look forward, helping you figure out where you are and where you're going. And then I'm going to help you figure out your own triggers so that you can focus on the most impactful areas. Oh, also in week 1, you have access to a gut health ebook that I wrote, and that helps you with that gut health trigger because that's a really big one. Week 2, you're going to leverage mind, body, spirit connection, not in a like woo-woo way, but I'm going to help you deal with stress and infections because those are huge. Week 3, we're going to dive into your diet. This is not a shame-based program. There is no shame. There is no guilt. We look at it with just the facts. Like, what is your current eating and how can you make one simple change? I don't want you to overhaul anything unless you really feel like you need to. And even then, I would caution you to do it, one step at a time. If you're going to take out gluten from your diet and you feel strongly about it, I'm going to support you all the way. But instead of just saying, hey, tomorrow I'm not going to have gluten, maybe we'll go slower. Like, first, we're going to figure out what do you normally eat and what would you eat if you can't have gluten. And then you're going to make a grocery list. And then you're going to figure out, or maybe you're going to make the meal plan first. And then you're going to make the grocery list. And then you're going to, implement the next step. But we're not going to make huge diet changes all in one step. We always try to do things simply and sustainably. So that's week 3 is about your diet. And then week 4, you'll focus a lot on the environment around you and reducing environmental chemicals and also supporting the pathways in your body that have to take care of those. We want to make sure that the environmental chemical trigger is as low as it can be. We're all exposed to stuff, and we want to make sure that we support our bodies as best we can. Also, I have a bonus in there about sleeping because we know that it is while you're sleeping that your body heals. So we want to make sure that you're getting the best sleep possible. So I have a bonus about that. Right now, this whole course, the Holistic Hashimoto's course, is massively on sale. Until the end of 2023, I have it priced at only $97. This is huge. It's in celebration of me launching the course this year, and it's in celebration of you ending your year well, starting 2024 with a bang. So if you follow me on Instagram, you're going to see me printing 3D models. I have a different chess set that I downloaded and printed as a test, and it worked. We're working on the Christmas one right now. We printed another Christmas present today. My fourth son, he printed something. So if you see my 3D print stories, every time you see that, just think about this lesson that I had to learn. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to seek expert help. And sometimes the best way to get what you've been hoping for and trying to achieve, sometimes the best way to get that is to work with somebody to figure out your very next step. And that's what I've got for you in the Holistic Hashimoto's course. The link is, of course, down below in the show notes. You can head over there. If you're listening to this still in December of 2023, go over right away, enroll so that you get the cheapest price ever. If you're listening after December, that's okay too. I still have an amazing course for you, step by step, taking you by the hand, helping you know the exact next thing that you can do so that you get the results that you want. This podcast is for informational and educational purposes only. Please be sure to discuss any concerns and plans with your trusted healthcare professional.